Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming to watch this video. And we finally got the news that we wanted, which is obviously the SEC approving the Spot Bitcoin ETFs. We got 11 approvals there, so we'll take a look at what's happening there. Really quick, we'll just kind of talk about it a little bit. We won't get into any articles or anything like that, but we will discuss it. We'll also take a look at what the impact has been on Bitcoin so far. And then we have just one story here on BitDigital. They're announcing an upsizing of contract with the customer for AI, which is great news. And we'll take a look at the December updates from the miners as far as scores are for those, the metrics that we normally do. And we'll also take a look at the full year-end 2023 scores for all of them on the averages for what they did over the last 12 months as far as how the scores ended up, okay? So that's basically it that we're going to get through, so it should be pretty quick here. As always, it's not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research and invest in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. It helps me out tremendously. And let's get into Bitcoin here. So what's going on with that? Obviously, we had the news with the Spot BTC being approved, but let's take a look at it and see what's going on there. So as you can see here, Bitcoin right now is at 46,637, 34, somewhere around there. It's kind of bouncing around. It's not really doing anything. Tomorrow, obviously, is going to be the first day of trading for the Spot Bitcoin ETFs. We'll see how much inflows we get from that, how much they're going to be buying Bitcoin on that part. I'm sure they're going to be working overtime with all of those firms, trying to get to their basically customers to have them buy those products that they are offering, and we'll have to see how that's going to impact tomorrow. So that'll be an interesting day tomorrow to watch. But right now, Bitcoin is kind of like, it's kind of not doing really anything right now. So we'll see tomorrow. Miners had a kind of mixed day today as well. It wasn't a great day. It wasn't a bad day. It was kind of like somewhere in the middle. And we're not really going to go over those. You guys have probably checked those out anyway. So there's nothing really happening here that's massive that I can see here. Some miners were down, some miners were up, some were kind of flat on the day. And so Argo was the only one that's really stood out here, was up 11%. Other than that, everybody else was kind of in the single digits as far as either gains or losses on the day. Okay, so going back to the SEC thing here, this has been basically in the making for over the last, I guess you could say, 10 years or so, right? The first Spot Bitcoin ETF application was filed like 10 years ago, and it didn't go through. And then obviously for the last 10 years, nothing really went through until finally the SEC went to court against, I can't remember who they went against, but I think it was VanEck, possibly, correct me if I'm wrong there. But the court said there's no reason why you shouldn't be approving the Spot Bitcoin ETF because you already approved the futures BTF, right, ETF. So that kind of set the ball rolling, and then you got big firms like BlackRock getting into it, others as well. So that kind of was the catalyst that we needed to actually get the SEC to approve it, which is great. So now that we got it, that whole drama is over with. Now we can concentrate on the halving event that's going to be coming up here, obviously, in the next couple of months. And then we'll see, obviously, what the impact is on Bitcoin with tomorrow's price action in the markets to see how the ETFs are actually going to be buying Bitcoin going forward, right? So that's going to be kind of interesting to watch. And then this is going to be kind of like gold. When the gold ETFs were approved, we saw that huge rise in gold prices. Well, we see the same thing in Bitcoin. Time will only tell. All right, so that's it for that. Let's take a look at the stories that we do have here, which is going to be on BitDigital. And this is actually pretty good news. So here we go. BitDigital Inc. announces upsized customer contract for BitDigital AI. So BitDigital, announced that it has increased the scope of its contract with its first customer of its BitDigital AI business line. Under the terms of the agreement, BitDigital will supply the customer with computational power from an additional 512 GPUs. For a period of 3 years, the total contract value with the customer for an aggregate of 2,048 GPUs is now worth more than $50 million of annualized revenue to BitDigital. The first year, it's going to be a little bit, obviously, less than that because you have to buy the machines for the servers, everything else. So we're looking at I'm thinking maybe somewhere around 15 million or so in revenue from this, because the other part's going to be having them buy the machines and everything else to build it out that they need. I'm guessing probably 15 to 20 million, somewhere around there, but we'll see. But after that, it's pretty much going to be all profits except for obviously energy costs and uptime and things like that, upkeep on it. So continue on here. To fulfill the contract, the company has placed a purchase order for 64 servers manufactured by Supermicro that are equipped with 512 NVIDIA HGX H100 GPUs along with related equipment, which are expected to be delivered to the company during January 2024. So that'll be good there. So obviously this month. So not a lot of time frame there. As of the date of this press release, 128 AI servers have been successfully installed at the data center in Iceland that are undergoing testing. The remaining servers are expected to arrive in the data center during January 2024. They'll do testing and probably deployed in February sometime. To help, this is kind of interesting here. This is the first time I'm ever reading something like this. To help finance the growth of Bit Digital AI, the company has executed a sale leaseback agreement with a third party. Under the agreement, Bit Digital has agreed to sell the third party 96 AI servers representing 768 GPUs and lease them back for a period of 3 years. The lease rate represents a percentage of the total contracted rate for those GPUs, and the company will also pass through prorated operational expenses for those units to the third party. So that's kind of interesting. They didn't provide any numbers as far as what they're getting from that. So we'll have to see. Hopefully we'll get some details on it when they provide the Q4 results for this. Well, it wouldn't be in Q4, it would be in Q1 now. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. Okay, so this is good news, obviously. They're diversifying their revenue streams, and we'll have to see how everybody else does going forward. There's a lot of companies that are getting into this AI space, and it's just going to be interesting. Is it going to be one of those things where it's just the hype that's in AI right now, is that driving all of that, and is that going to be sustainable going forward for a lot of these guys? Obviously, they have contracts here, so that's great. Some of the other customers or other miners are building out infrastructure for the AI servers and everything else, but no real, I would say, they have some customers, but nothing as big as what we've seen here from Bit Digital. Okay, so that's it on that. And then let's get into our numbers here that we have for the month of December and how the miners got scored on this. And we scored on month-over-month hash rate growth, current hash rate, Bitcoins per exahash, month-over-month BTC mined percentage, BTC mined, days mined, HODL, and then BTC percentage sold during the month. And then they get graded from 1 to, well, the last number, which is usually like 16 or something like that. If they are the same, they get graded the same number. And then we tally it all up, and we do it into basically 8 metrics, and then 6 metrics that don't include the HODL position or the hash rate, right? Because we kind of want to look at both things. One that includes HODL and hash rate, because in some respect that's important, but also we're trying to figure out on operational side of things how efficient the miners are, how they grow, and things like that on a monthly basis on that. And HODL does skew that, especially companies that have large HODL along with hash rate, right? So we do both of these, and then it kind of gives us a comparison as far as how everything has stacked up here. Okay, so going down here, we'll just go through these one by one, and I'm not going to go over all the numbers here, but we'll go over the top 5, and then you guys can see the rest of them as well down on the list here. So month-over-month percentage hash rate growth, higher is better here. DigiHost had 14% growth. Bit Digital had 12% growth. Marathon 6.12. Bitfarms at 1.2, and then you got a bunch of miners that didn't really grow at all. And then obviously you got Hot 8, which actually went down 1.51%. Hive went down 2.86%, and BitDeer went down 6.94%. Okay, so those are the top 5 would be DigiHost, Bit Digital, Marathon, Bitfarms, and then you got probably a bunch of them tied for 5th place on that one. Okay, current hash rate, obviously Marathon, 24.6 exahash. They are the king right now as far as hash rate is concerned. Riot at 12.4, roughly, and then you got CleanSpark at 10 exahash, sorry. Then you got Hut 8 at 7.2, roughly. BitDeer at 6.7, and those would be the top 5 right there currently as that stands. Okay, next going to BTC per exahash efficiency, so higher is better. Marathon, based on the numbers that they provided as far as what they mined, and they provided that they mined 1,853 for everything. That includes joint venture. Bitcoin that were mined there. I'm only using the numbers for their self-mining, which is 1,800 BTC for the month of December. And that still gave them the top spot here at 73 BTC per exahash, which is fantastic. CleanSpark came in at number 2 spot with 71. Iris at number 3 spot with 69.99. Hive at number 4 spot at 69.68. And Bitfarms at 68.62. So those are the 5 there, and you can see how everybody else has stacked up over there. Mawson also didn't provide their numbers yet, so they're always going to be at the bottom here on most of these. Okay, month-over-month BTC mined percentage. Marathon had a huge increase, obviously, here at 56.39%. A lot of that was attributable to the Bitcoin transaction fees being added in there. Bit Digital had a nice increase as well, 18.78%. Hut 8, 16.15%, Bitfarms 13.78%, and then you got Riot with 12.14% increase in the amount that they mined. But obviously you can see Marathon just blew everybody else away here, okay? So those are the top 5 there. Going down here even more, BTC mined. Obviously, like I said, Marathon with 1,800 for their self-mining. CleanSpark at number 2 spot with 720. Riot at number 3 spot with 619. Cypher number 4 spot with 465. Hut 8 with 453. And those are the top 5 there on those. And then days mined, we got a bunch of the miners here. A lot of this was helped by the Bitcoin transaction fees, which were added into it. So we got a bunch of guys mining at 31 days here. So we got pretty much everybody here: Hive, CleanSpark, Bitfarms, DigiHost, Cypher, BitDigital, TerraWolf, DMG, Marathon, mining for pretty much the full month, which is fantastic to see. That's what we really want to see, is those miners mining for as much as they can, and preferably all of the month. Sphere came in second spot then, I guess you could say, really. Argo in third spot, Iris in fourth spot, and Hut 8 in number 5 spot. If you look at it that way, we have a bunch of them that are tied in for first spot in that one. Okay, days mined, and then we got the HODL position here. HODL position Marathon, 15,174, number 1 spot. Hut 8, number 2 spot, 9,195. Riot at 7,362. Then you got CleanSpark, number 4 spot at 3,002. Then you got Hive in number 5 spot with 1,707 BTC. Okay, and then when we look at BTC percentage sold here, obviously when we go into the or as we get closer to the halving event, at least I like to see miners at least try to hodl more going into the halving, and then hopefully use that hodl position to sell as Bitcoin is going up, to new all-time highs or close to those all-time highs. That way they can get a heck of a lot more for those Bitcoins that were mined at much lower costs like they are now. Okay, so Marathon came in number 1 with 36.2, CleanSpark with 40.7% only being sold, BitDigital number 3 spot with 46.4, Cypher with 48.8, and then number 5 spot was DMG with only 63.9, and then you can see the rest here, how they all stacked up. And we do have a couple miners that obviously sell pretty much everything that they mine here. BitDeer, TerraWolf, Iris, DigiHost, Bitfarms. Bitfarms was pretty close, 99.6. They didn't sell everything, but they sold quite a bit there. And usually they hodl a little bit more there, so that was a little surprising there. Argo was also surprising that they sold more than they mined, 107 BTC there. Okay, and that is it. So here are the scores based on the 8 metrics, which includes obviously hodl and hash rate. And we got the top 5 miners for December. Marathon, number 1 spot. They only got 10 score, which is the best you could possibly get potentially. CleanSpark, actually the best score would be like 8, right? If they had ones all across the board here. Marathon came in number 1, CleanSpark in number 2 spot with 28, Bitfarms number 3 with 42, BitDigital and Hut 8 tied for number 4 spot, and then Cypher came in at number 5 spot for that, and you can see how everybody else has stacked up here as well. Okay, now when we take out HODL and hash rate, you can see how things stack up this way. Marathon still came in number 1 and number 8 spot, right? So pretty much all ones across the board there. CleanSpark came in number 2 spot with 21, BitDigital in number 3 spot with 25, Bitfarms number 4 spot at 30, and then Cypher number 5 spot with 35. So great job obviously by Marathon. Marathon had a fantastic month in December. If they could only operate that way every single month, they would be the top miner every month. That was a fantastic operational part of their 2023. A great way to end it, I guess you could say, 2023. And then going down here, you can see the miner individual metric scores for all the metrics here. And you can see your Marathon ones all across the board. The best for the month here. Month over month percentage hash rate, number 3 spot. Still really good. Okay, they're really big as it is right now. So for them to grow a large percentage is going to be difficult for them. But they are still obviously growing to 30 exahash and potentially 50 exahash afterwards. Okay, so Marathon took the cake here. Next is CleanSpark. CleanSpark is also really good here. A couple of things that were a little bit low, I guess you could say, or not as good, were month-over-month percentage hash rate increase. Month-over-month BTC mined as well. That didn't increase. I thought that was going to increase a little bit more for them, but it didn't. And then what else here? BTC hodled, number 4 spot, not too bad, but you can see how everything stacks up there. Then you got Bitfarms here, number 3 spot. Basically, they're kind of down towards the bottom end here, around the 4s for the most part. Days mined being number 1, obviously, like the rest of some of the guys there. And then BTC sold. They obviously sold quite a bit there. I think if it wasn't for that, they probably would have gotten a little bit better of a score. BitDigital, you can see how that's stacked up there for them. Hut 8, you can see all the scores combined. You got Cypher and Riot, Hive, Iris, TerraWolf. Wait, did I miss one? BitDeer. BitDeer also didn't mine, well, at least we weren't covering them for the full year. They came public first quarter, sometime or second quarter in 2023. So they've been kind of middle of the road here for the most of the year when we have been tracking them. DMG, way up there on some of the scores. DigiHost, same thing. Sphere, definitely high scores. Argo, same thing. And then you got Moss, and Mawson didn't report really, so they're kind of out of it anyways. Okay, so now let's take a look at the 2023 12-month average scores and ranking. And the way I did that was basically taking all the scores that they got for the 8 metrics and 6 metrics for the last 12 months, combined them all, got the totals for it, and then averaged them out. And this is how things stack up. Okay, so for the year on the 8 metrics, we got Marathon in number 1 spot, CleanSpark in second spot with 31, Bitfarms in third spot with 42, Cypher in the 4th spot with 45, Hive in the number 5 spot with 46, and then you can see obviously everybody else here down the road. They all stacked up. Okay. Now, when we look at the 6 metrics here that don't include HODL or hash rate, we're just looking at basically monthly efficiencies on operation side of things. Here's how things stack up. We get a little bit of a switcheroo here between CleanSpark and Marathon. So CleanSpark came in number 1 with 25, Marathon with 29, still really close to CleanSpark. Then you got Iris at 30, Bitfarms at 32, so that's number 4 spot, and Cypher in number 5 spot. Those are kind of like the top miners here for the most part on that. So depending which metrics are more important to you, you got 2 different scores to go over, depending on what what you're looking for. For the miners, I'm usually looking for obviously efficiencies. I think efficiencies are important because if you're operating efficiently, you can pay off those machines a lot faster than somebody that's operating at 90% or 80% of uptime, right? You're going to be able to get those Bitcoins mined and everything else. Plus, when we see Bitcoin transaction fees increasing, that's going to also help as well. So efficiencies to me is important, like I said, because that does pay down the purchase of the ASICs. Basically, you're getting an ROI faster on those machines than you would otherwise if you're curtailing. You're operating at 80, 90%, whatever it might be. So somebody that's operating at 100% is going to do a lot better, I think, financially, standing-wise, because you're going to be able to pay off those machines faster. That's kind of the way I look at it. Okay, but let me know what you guys think on all of this. And I thought it was kind of interesting to take a look at it. And here's all the data that I put in there. And you can see here for BitDeer, we had basically like through July, I think we weren't even tracking them on that one for some of these metrics here. So there's that. And also we didn't include Core in here because they were in Chapter 11 bankruptcy at that time. And they're going to be getting out this year. So we'll track them this year. We'll get them included into this list as well. And then that'll be happening. And we'll keep track of it again this year as well. We'll see how they do, all the miners going into this year in 2024, and then we'll review this at the end of the year as well. Okay, so that is it. Pretty simple, pretty quick, pretty easy. Let me know what you guys thought of all this. Did your miner make it into the top 5? Did it not? But yeah, that is it. So as always, almost forgot. This is going to be available to my Patreon members. So get access to all my spreadsheets on Patreon. The link is going to be down in the description below. Membership right now is at $8. There's plenty of spots open for that tier. It's basically the same tier for everybody, but the spots are going to be getting less and less, and prices are going to be going up. So if you want to get in while the price is still relatively low, definitely join there. And we also have obviously this Discord private channel in there. So a lot of great communications going on in there. And I think that's it. So tomorrow's going to be interesting, obviously, because we have the Spot Bitcoin ETFs going live trading. We'll see how much of an inflow that has on Bitcoin price or impact on Bitcoin price in general, as they're going to push it up even higher, which a lot of people expect that to happen. But so it's going to be an interesting day. We'll cover that. We'll see whatever else happens during the month, and then we'll get into the rest of the stuff that may or may not be happening. Okay? So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys in the next one.